Hello ladies and gents, this is the US Iran deal explained by channel TLDR News Global. I've reacted to this channel in the past. Now people told me this is more like a left-wing biased channel. Well, in this one, I'm watching this because I just want to know what the deal actually is in detail. I don't care about the opinions. I didn't find any good videos of it yet. Because right now it's like, is the deal even finalized, not finalized? Things are very weird. But I want to know what specific details of it is. So it's going to be interesting. Let's do this one.
On Sunday evening US time, or Monday morning Iranian time, the US and Iran announced that, after more than 100 days of on and off conflict, the two sides have finally negotiated a Memorandum of Understanding, or MOU, to extend the fragile ceasefire and hopefully pave the way to a more permanent agreement.
Oh, so it's not a peace deal, it's just extension in a way, just glorified extension until deal actually finalize. Like I said, I'll see it when I believe it. I'll believe it when I see it, whatever.
So in this video, we're going to explain what's actually in the MOU and whether it can really, in Trump's words, bring peace and security to the whole region. What comes next after overthrowing your government? That was the dilemma facing Gen Z protesters from Bangladesh to Nepal to Madagascar following their revolutions. So we explore the challenges they face turning protests to power in the latest issue of our magazine. That's just some of the 80 pages in the magazine, because there's more to too long than you'd expect. Purchase your copy by clicking the link in the description. So let's start by explaining what's actually in the MOU. We don't have the full text yet, which is due to be published and signed later this week, but the broad outlines are pretty clear. In short, both sides have agreed to extend the ceasefire by 60 days, during which time the US will...
So 2 months. You need 2 months to iron out details. Again, I don't know how politics works, but every time I hear shit like this in politics, oh, it's gonna take few months. Why? What is so complex that you're gonna talk straight for 2 months? There's nothing that you can talk that needs 60 days. This kind of a leisurely approach to it is just weird. It is politics in general, not just this.
Will lift its naval blockade, which has been interdicting ships going in and out of an Iranian port, and apparently grant Iran a waiver to sell oil on the international markets. In exchange, Iran...
Hold up there. Hold up. So you're going to remove all sanctions. You're going to let them sell oil. And it's just a 60 days extended ceasefire. So after 60 days, if Iran makes enough money and can get enough stockpile, they can just go back attacking. And now try to attack US. Because we never reached a peace deal anyway. This was a buffer. So during 2 months, you're going to let them sell oil. What was the blockade for if that's the case? Isn't this a breathing room you're giving them? I've said this in the past. Choking them off, letting them breathe. Choking them off, letting them breathe. Make up mind, man. Because this is just weird. Right? What if in 60 days no deal comes around? What was the point of the blockade? Doesn't this give them enough money to extend war now?
Iran has agreed to gradually reopen the Strait of Hormuz.
By the way, sometimes people comment like he's pro-war. I'm not pro-war. If Iran sells oil, if anything, I'm the one who benefits, by the way. So I'm the one who should be like, yeah, go for it. Yeah, Iran sell oil, let the Strait of Hormuz open, let the LNG flow. It's good for me. And it's good for me and I'm saying it. Isn't this a problematic thing? So if anything, that makes me unbiased, right? Because I'm saying opposite of what benefits me.
Which should provide a much-needed relief to global energy markets, although Iran will first have to remove any mines laid across the waterway. This new 60-day ceasefire extension will reportedly also include Lebanon, where Israel is currently fighting a war against Hezbollah. During these 60 days, the two sides are due to begin negotiations on thornier issues, including, most obviously, the question of Iran's nuclear program. According to both Iranian and US sources, the MOU doesn't say much about sanctions relief or reconstruction, although there have been some reports that Iran might receive some or all of its $24 billion in frozen funds, and it looks like further sanctions relief will be conditional on progress being made in
24 billion is a lot of money when it comes to ballistic missiles. They could just buy missiles from China or Russia as an immediate process. And China would just need this excuse. They just like their customer. And you reduce the sanctions, you were under peace deal, and they asked for me for a ballistic missile. They gave me money. What am I going to say? No, this is a perfect opportunity for China to sell them.
In the nuclear negotiations. Trump has also claimed that the MOU obliges Iran never to seek nuclear weapons, but this is a rhetorical commitment that Iran has made many times in the past, including on the first page of Obama's Iran deal. So, will this MOU actually work? In other words, can it really pave the way?
Technically, but it's just for 2 months. This is not a permanent thing like Obama wants. That's what Trump means. In this 2 months period, it's claimed that after that some finalized deal will be reached. I don't know.
For a sustainable peace between not just Iran and the US, the only two countries expected to sign it, but also, in Trump's words, the whole region. Well, maybe, but we see at least 3 big caveats.
Where is Israel? Why? Okay, Trump got pissed off at Netanyahu. Did Trump literally ghosted Netanyahu? Would that even work?
That's worth mentioning. The first is that, in a lot of ways, the MOU just returns us to the pre-war status quo, when the Strait of Hormuz was open and the US wasn't imposing a naval blockade. It doesn't really deal with the thornier issues that have plagued US-Iran relations for decades, like Iran's nuclear program or...
So it doesn't enforce that you have to give up nuclear program. That would be massive red flag. That is literally flipping the side type of red flag. If that happens... At that time, even the most strongest Trump supporters needs to turn. Because if it doesn't like forcibly say like, yeah, uranium needs to be removed, exactly what did you do? What is different between now and 6 months ago?
It's proxy network.
I know like reduce capabilities, but that doesn't mean much if uranium is still there. What was the purpose of your attack? Just reduce them enough so they can come back year after or 2 years after, whatever.
Rather, it just defers these problems for future negotiations. This isn't necessarily a bad thing. MOUs like this can be a useful confidence-building measure towards a more sustainable agreement.
Exactly.
However, the point we're trying to emphasize here is that the MOU itself is really very thin. It's basically...
That's what I'm thinking. There will be forced mechanism like you need to give up uranium, otherwise this doesn't work.
Ceasefire extension, and the vast majority of the difficult issues are coming later down the line. When pushed on this point by the New York Times a few hours after the deal, Trump admitted that if the two sides were unable to agree a new nuclear deal after 60 days, the US would restart its military attacks on Tehran or make the US, quote, the guardian of the Middle East in return for 20% of the region's revenues, whatever that means in practice.
What that means is Trump and United States military will patrol Strait of Hormuz, will defend Strait of Hormuz by any means necessary, and now USA will basically take toll of 20%. The way Iran was saying we'll take it. Wouldn't that piss off people, even Americans? I don't know.
If the two sides can come to some sort of deal, however, all the evidence suggests it will look very similar to Obama's deal, known as the JCPOA. In that call with the New York Times, for instance, Trump also claimed that Iran will be forever limited to enriching uranium at low levels that, quote, could never be used by the military. This sounds like the US dictating terms, but actually represents a significant concession on Trump's part, given that his negotiating team had previously insisted on zero enrichment, and is exactly where Obama ended up too. Specifically,
this is Obama's thing. However you want to look at Obama's thing, like, yeah, Obama's thing gave Iran billions. This will do that too. You're asking them to enrich at a level and not beyond that. Obama did the same thing. How are you going to enforce it? Only thing to do it, like, you can't enrich at all. And if you need uranium for like commercial reasons, you ask America and will physically lend help. American people, American organizations, American companies will do your uranium handling and operating in Iran. That has to be a thing. You can't do it yourself. If that doesn't happen, like, this is just like Obama deal. Doesn't, like, they'll still enrich it at a higher level. How are you going to enforce it?
JCPOA permitted Iran to enrich some uranium up to 3.67%, enough to be used in a reactor, but well short of the 80 or 90% enrichment required for a warhead. Furthermore, and this is the second caveat on our list, even though it deliberately defers the more difficult topics for future negotiations, a fair bit of dispute is already emerging over the MOU itself. For starters, there's some confusion over the extent to which the strait will actually be reopened. In his Truth Social post announcing the deal, Trump talked about a toll-free reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, implying that the Iranians won't be able to charge tolls on passing ships, as they've been doing in recent months, forcing ships through the narrow passage between the Qeshm and Larak Islands. Trump then doubled down on this claim in his call to the New York Times, claiming that the strait would be, quote, permanently toll-free. It's hard to see how Trump can actually guarantee this, though, given that the current MOU only covers the next 60 days. Furthermore, multiple Iranian sources have suggested that they see things.
I think it's implied that for 60 days this is going to be in effect, and after 60 days, if this effect doesn't last, we'll just bomb Iran again, which obviously temporarily will stop the flow again. But he's being optimistic, like, yeah, we'll reach the deal, obviously, that type of way. Again, I don't know.
Things quite differently. In an interview with state media a couple of days ago, for instance, Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi claimed that, under the MOU, future management of the waterway will be different from the past, and that services will no longer be free. In practice, it sounds like Iran has nominally agreed not to impose tolls, but plans to instead charge quote-unquote service fees in coordination with Oman. This sounds suspiciously like the rebranding of the existing toll system, and would make it unlikely that maritime traffic through the strait would return.
It's not a tax. It's your patronage. It's your help and, like your right and duty as a citizen. All right. So it's not going to be a toll. It's a service fee, which will increase every quarterly. Jeff Bezos will basically like draw out a whole structure of it, how to do it, just like Amazon. There you go. Going very corporate, apparently. How is any other countries like Qatar, UAE, Saudi going to agree to this? This hurts them. And Strait of Hormuz belongs to them as well. So wouldn't that just point blank create friction there? Wouldn't they just bomb each other anyway?
Return to pre-war levels. Another point of contention within the MOU is Lebanon. The MOU reportedly calls for a halt to hostilities across the region, including Lebanon, where Israel is fighting a war against Hezbollah. But it remains to be seen whether Israel will actually abide by this, given that Israel is not expected to be a signatory to the MOU. And this is our third and final caveat.
Oh my God. What is going to happen? If Trump says like, yeah, this is happening, shut up Israel. And Israel's like, what? I'm not listening to you. You're here only for 3 years. And I'm still going to bomb them. Is there going to be a massive friction between Israel and US?
Yeah, Israel. Even if Trump can somehow strong-arm Israel into abiding by the MOU, previous experience suggests that it won't last. Trump has pushed Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu into ceasefires in the recent past, but these don't really seem to last, and Israel usually ends up resuming hostilities.
Last time, Netanyahu, don't you dare attack anything. Just like, enough of this. Oh, yeah, 100% Trump. Oh, you Donny boy, you're my man. And while the planes were flying in the air, literally, but after minutes, oh no, Israel attacked Iran.
This is exactly what happened earlier this month. After Netanyahu announced Israel will be escalating its war in Lebanon, Trump apparently called Netanyahu and told him to back down. Netanyahu originally acceded, but after a furious domestic backlash...
You're crazy! Netanyahu's like, yeah, I know that. Oh, I'm sorry, is that news? What are you talking about?
Israel restarted its war and has since bombed Beirut. The domestic reaction inside Israel has been even more furious this time. The leader of the opposition, Yair Lapid, has already described the MOU as one of the most shocking failures of Israel's foreign and security policy.
Of course he would.
In this light, it's hard to see Israel sticking to the MOU, let alone a more substantial deal, if one can even be agreed.
If MOU leads to Iran giving up their enriched uranium completely, then Israel should not have issue with this. If Israel does, what result are you expecting? Do you just want constant war? What is it? I think this is one of those moments where like, yeah, it's probably not going to happen. I'm very cynical. I don't see deal being made like that. But Israel should still give benefit to the doubt. Maybe it will happen. If you don't cling to this level of hope, there is no hope in the future. Do you want to have an infinite fight with Iran? What do you want? Let's see. Maybe deal happens. Who knows? Maybe they'll give up uranium. Isn't that what you want? Isn't that you want that Iran doesn't have nukes? That is the only threat you have. Otherwise, there is no threat from Iran to Israel. The threat is nuclear bomb.
The latest issue of our magazine is out now. And if you want our best value ever, subscribing and using...
Yeah, Paul, go to original page link. From there, support this channel. I didn't know about this detail, man. That's way too shaky. This feels like just Obama deal 2.0 with some differences. I'm sure somebody in the comments will get angry like, no, Obama sucked and this is just perfect deal. All right, calm down. The point here is like you just still telling them to enrich only a bit of uranium. You can't enforce that. Obama did the same thing. If you're going to say Obama gave them the money and they used that for making like missiles, Trump is doing the same thing if this is true. If the final deal doesn't say you can't enrich any uranium, and if you need uranium for commercial use, US will help directly. And you have to accept that. I know you don't like Americans, getting involved in Iran, but this is one area you have to accept Americans getting involved in Iran, which is enriched uranium. Deal has to say that. And deal has to include Israel and all that, because otherwise Israel will just like, no, I don't care, I'm just still going to bomb. Iran will just say like, yeah, USA, you didn't keep Israel in check, no deal. That deal will last not even a week if that happens. Everything feels shaky to me. I will see in the next 2 months. For 2 months, at least things will go back to normal, right? It's like this is like one of those World War I Christmas truce. Everybody's going to play soccer, right? FIFA World Cup is going on. Everybody's going to play soccer. And after 2 months, we'll see what happens. There you go, people. If you like my channel, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.